Hello everyone, and welcome back to another figure review. Today we're taking a look at the budget-friendly release that is the S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball Super, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Unwavering Saiyan Pride, or Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Unwavering Saiyan Pride, whichever saves you a few words. This figure was originally released for us in the States back in November of 2024, and should still be readily available at your big box stores like Walmart and Target. Keyword being should. At the time of recording this video, he is up for pre-order again on Big Bad Toy Store with shipping projected later this month. So if you're already sold on him and want your own copy, get your pre-orders in now while you can. Now, I was super excited for this figure when I first saw Tamashii drop the news on us, even after picking up the 15th anniversary reissue. Vegeta was my favorite character for the longest time before Broly came into my life, so I still have a soft spot for the Prince of Saiyans, and I believe he deserves 3 to 4 releases a year, much like Goku. I'm kidding, Tamashii. Please, don't spam us with the same battle armor mold anymore. We can't take it. But anywho, now that I have Vegeta in hand, can I say that this figure met my expectations? Let's get into the review and find out. Starting with the packaging, we have an image of Vegeta in his iconic fighting pose with some manga-style paneling in the background. Here's a quick look at the right side of the box, which continues that manga-style paneling. The back side of the box gives us a look at Vegeta, as well as gives us ideas for poses that we can get the figure into. Here's a look at the left side of the box. A quick look at the top. And bottom to round off the packaging. In my personal opinion, the color palette for this Vegeta is probably my second favorite version of his iconic battle armor that Tamashii has put out, with first place still belonging to the navy blue jumpsuit and gray armored release from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. The overall color scheme of Vegeta here is very similar to that of the NYCC Vegito, minus the baby oil treatment. When Tamashii made the announcement on Instagram regarding this Vegeta, they stated that his appearance would mimic the Super Saiyan Blue aura being around him, and they weren't joking. It may be hard to see on camera here, but Vegeta's whites do have a hint of blue to them, again much like the NYCC Vegito. It's just harder to see because there's no pearl coat on top. And so y'all don't think I'm reaching, here he is up against the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta from DBS Broly. It's definitely an off-white. Anywho, enough about the body that we're all familiar with. The real star of the show, and my favorite part about the figure, is the brand new head sculpt and faces inspired by Yuya Takahashi. If you're not familiar with Takahashi's work, he's one of the key animators responsible for some of the animation we see in the latter half of the Tournament of Power, most notably where Vegeta squares off against Jiren and delivers that epic final flash. I love the detail of these faces, as it captures Vegeta's likeness pretty darn well. When compared to the faces from the Super Broly release, it's wild how much of a difference some extra line work around the eyes and deeper indentations around the temples makes in the overall presentation. And then there's the hair itself. It's done almost in the same shade of blue as we got with the 2020 Vegito. I think the extra line work in Vegito's hair creates a darker look because it gives light more chances to cast shadows in the sculpt. Speaking of line work, Vegeta's hair sculpt is fairly modest with it, and in my opinion, creates the perfect modern Super Saiyan look. It's not too flat like we see with the Majin Vegeta or Awakened Super Saiyan Blood Vegeta, and it's not too crazy like Vegito. This would be perfect for a modern 2.0 Buu Saga Super Saiyan Vegeta. My only real gripe, and this is more of a nitpick, is the fact his hair is not fuller in the back. It's just not as filled out when compared to the other iterations of Vegeta. Had it had just a little bit more hair in the back, it would have been perfect. Now that we got the finer details of the figure's design out of the way, let's take a closer look at everything that comes bundled with Vegeta here. Right out of the box, Vegeta is going to come with 3 extra faceplates for a total of 4, 3 extra sets of hands for a total of 4, plus an additional right hand for that iconic Super Disappointment pose, and his crossed arms piece. For the faces we get, a stern face, a shouting face, a smirking face, and a teeth-gritting face. Not including the fists that come attached, we get 2 splayed-out hands perfect for firing the Gallic gun, 2 final flash hands, 2 martial arts style hands, and a thumbs up for the right hand. Lastly, the crossed arms accessory. This piece is extremely outdated, and in my opinion, needs to be retired. I loved the crossed arms accessory that came with the 24,000 Vegeta, as it was super simple to put on and take off. Thankfully, the old style battle clothes Vegeta is getting that as well. But yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of having to take the arms off at the biceps and fighting those pegs. It's hit or miss sometimes with how difficult it wants to be when swapping them over. Skill issue, I know. But as for what's missing, that's tough considering that this is meant to be a budget release, and everything extra would have cost more. But if the budget would have allowed it, another faceplate because 4 is not enough anymore, especially when these faces are just so clean, yet have no directional input for more stylized posing. And I think that's where something like the budget release of Super Saiyan God Goku or the store-exclusive Kaioken Goku nails it. But say Tamashii had an even bigger budget with this release. What could they have added? Well, y'all have seen me post up our boy here with the NYCC Vegito Aura and the 2020 Vegito Final Kamehameha, and I think something like that would have been easy to retrofit because these hands are literally interchangeable with each other with no fitment issue, as we can see here. Sure, there's a little bit of discoloration, but sneaky photography hides that. And I initially thought Vegeta here would come with an aura, but Tamashii would have made it plainly obvious if that would have been the case like they did with the Vegito. Anyways, let's move on. Alright, let's get into the articulation here for Vegeta. So this is literally the same 2.0 mold that we've had since 2016, and it is definitely starting to show its age, not only in quality, but in articulation as well. And it's not to say that the figure is bad, they've made some improvements to it over the years, mainly right here in the hips, but that's about it. Everything else is starting to scream, it's time to put the old boy down. And let's take a closer look and we'll talk about it. Starting with the head and working our way down, Vegeta is going to be on a ball hinge that lets him look up about yay high, and look down, burying his chin into his chest, about like so. Side-to-side movement is going to be limited, and again, you're going to have to rotate that ball hinge around to get the most range that you're looking for. I believe Anthony's Customs calls it the ball hinge shimmy, where you have to sit here and do this number until you can get the ball hinge to rotate the way it needs to. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. And also, this is a bit of a bummer. Like, the neck just doesn't want to really function and work with me, and it could just be stuck because I haven't, heated it up to free it up. Because if you look at the awakened Super Saiyan Blood Vegeta, look at that, you can see the neck moves freely just doing this number. So Vegeta's able to look up pretty high when compared to this one. And then, yeah. So it just might be my copy. I may need to take some hot water to it. I might do that at a later date and see if that fixes the issue. But anywho, let's move on. For the arms, Vegeta is going to be on a ball and socket system that lets him rotate it the full 360, no problem. And he is going to be able to bring those arms out a little shy of 180 degrees. It's not too bad. We do have some very nice butterfly joints that lets Vegeta bring his arms out about this far. When you deactivate one of those joints, the butterfly joints, you get about an extra fist worth of range when comparing between non-butterfly joint and with butterfly joint. So, but if you want the most out of your Gallic Gun again, or your Final Flashes, barely use the butterfly joint and just kind of bring it in closer to the bicep, and you'll be able to almost touch those fists. Otherwise, like this, it's not happening. There's a lot more gap. Anywho, we do have upper bicep swivels. One point of contention, like I was talking about with the quality of the articulation and just overall mold, as you can see, at a certain point, there's going to be no resistance, or hardly any resistance to moving this back and forth. It'll have some resistance, and then it just, it's loose, and then it's back to being tight. It is annoying to me. My 24,000 Vegeta was way worse than this. But that's just, I guess, a sign that this mold is definitely on its way out in terms of tolerance. We're losing a lot of tolerance. This arm, you can feel it. It's pretty tight all the way through. There's no spot where it just loses grip and then, becomes really loose on you. So, double jointed elbows and ball hinges for the wrist pegs. Now the torso. Vegeta is going to be able to lean back this far, exposing his chest cavity, and he's going to be able to lean forward about this far. He does have, and it is extended now because of it leaning back, he does have a torso extension. So, now he's, at least as tall as Goku now with that extension. It's not great, but that's about as much range as you're going to get with the extension and then leaning forward. You do get some leaning side to side, and you do get rotation, which is nice. The lower half of Vegeta also has rotation. You can get it to rotate a full 360. And something that the 24,000 Vegeta lacks severely in is articulation. So, at least in the waist, you can get Vegeta to lean forward or crunch more with leaning or pushing this back so you get more range. Like Vegeta can literally, yeah, you can see he can almost, I think the legs are moving on me now, but do this number. Yeah. Vegeta can lean forward like that, and then he can do the pelvic thrust like so. It's very subtle, but it makes a world of a difference whether you think so or not, if that makes sense. Like when it comes to an articulating standpoint, getting a little more range, like every centimeter, every inch matters, and that is what she said. Anywho, now let's talk about the other issue when it comes to the issue here, like how this is loose. Vegeta here is definitely a bit floppy in the waist and in the chest. And I'm not really flicking this like, you know, really flicking it, but you can, I mean, here, I'm going to hold Vegeta up, this other Vegeta up here so I don't lose focus. Oh, I lost focus anyways, but you can kind of hear it. It's not very good. Not very good at all. And that's another, you know, sign that this mold is really starting to show its age. When we get into the legs, like I talked about the hip joints, you know, they fixed it. Like you don't have springy hip joints anymore, which is nice. It only took 8 years to fix that issue, but no springy hip joints. Vegeta is going to be able to do the splits about 45 degrees. When you factor in, that's 90 degrees. It doesn't look like it because of that crotch piece. That might as well be your like little square box in geometry. But yes, that's 90 degrees, 45 both ways. Vegeta is going to be able to kick out about 45 degrees like this, but you can get more range if you grab him by the butt and groin and gently up here up high pull up, and you get about 90 degrees. And then kicking the leg back, you'll eventually run into that stop or that bump stop too. And then just give it a little, you know, hold it here, give it a little twist, not twist, help it a little more, and you get about 180 degrees. So it is serviceable. I mean, I love the fact that, you know, he gets 180 degrees, but if you do it too quick, you can, you know, separate it and make the leg pop off. So be aware of that. We do have upper thigh swivels, double jointed knees, and ankle rockers that are on, or at least feet and ankles that are double ball pegs. So getting Vegeta to rock in is like that, and rock out is like this, going down, going up. When you start pushing the joint back, you can push the foot back. It's god-awful looking, but that's what it looks like. And then we do get a toe hinge, which is like 45 degrees, if that. So overall, Vegeta here is going to do what you want him to do for being a 2.0 figure. But again, like I said, we are running into the issue that he is definitely starting to show his age. And it's time. It's time to put it down. It's time for the 3.0 to get here, which I believe is slated for summer? Question mark. And it's time to move on. I think this Vegeta, this mold has served us well for the past, 8, 9 years, almost 10. And other third-party companies like Beast Deities are starting to leave Tamashii in the dust. Well, let's go ahead and move on to some comparisons, then the head swaps, and then we'll close this video out. For the comparisons, here's Vegeta in X2, the full power Super Saiyan Son Goku with the Super Saiyan Blue head sculpt from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, the general release of the Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black with the Sanctions of Justice head sculpt, the event-exclusive Super Saiyan Future Trunks, and the event-exclusive Final Battle Jiren. For the head swaps, we'll be taking a look at what the new Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta head sculpt looks like on these 4 bodies. The DBS Broly body, the Awakened Super Saiyan Blood release, the event-exclusive Majin Vegeta, and the 24,000 power level release. Personally, my favorite of the four has to be the Majin Vegeta body. The skin tones actually match up pretty nicely. And now we'll be taking a look at what these head sculpts look like on the Unwavering Saiyan Pride body with the bonus 5th head, the Super Saiyan God Vegeta from the Dragon Ball Super Broly Vegeta. Now when it came to the Super Saiyan Blue head sculpt on the other bodies, there was a clear definitive winner. Here, it's an absolute toss-up for which one I like best, but my top 3 in order would have to be the Super Saiyan God, Awakened Super Saiyan Blood, and the 24,000 power level head sculpts. Which combinations did you like best? So for my closing thoughts on Vegeta here, it's the same 2.0 Vegeta we've had since 2016. The mold is really starting to show its age, which yes, I know is stating the obvious, but this is also a case of how slight improvements can make a mold still seem fresh, for the most part. As I touched on in the articulation section, Vegeta feels loose in some areas like his right bicep swivel and his waist and upper torso regions. But in areas where it matters, like those notorious hip joints, Tamashi delivered, and that's a win in my book. I think if you're needing a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta for your collection, this is it. Now, I still have my own biases when it comes to the Broly version of Vegeta, and it's not because it's Broly related, it's just I love the overall aesthetic of that Vegeta. But I'm not completely blind to the fact that what we have here is a stylized improvement, and I absolutely love the Takahashi inspired head sculpts. I will add that it was a little out of left field for Tamashi to announce this figure after we just got done getting the 15th anniversary reissue. But with that said, should you be mad if you bought the 15th anniversary Vegeta Blue and then saw Tamashi drop this bomb? No, I don't think so, and here's why. I think they had this Vegeta in the works before they even announced the winner for the 15th anniversary campaign. Or they could have seen the popularity of Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in the campaign and wanted to capitalize on it by offering this figure as an alternative for those who do not have access to Premium Bandai. And this could have been a dig at Demoniacal Fit's Deep Blue, aka Evolution Blue Vegeta. Okay, now that one's a bit of a reach. I know some of y'all don't care for the oiled up pearlescent finishes on these figures, but if this figure had it, bruh. Plus, the Dragon Ball Super Broly version is unique in its own right because it comes with the Super Saiyan God head sculpt, something that has not been reproduced. I really do think that this was a missed opportunity to do a proper Super Saiyan God release to coincide with the budget release of Goku. Other than that, again, this is a solid release if you're needing a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So with my minor gripes aside, pick him up if you want him, as he's worth the 35 USD price tag for you new and veteran collectors alike. And that's going to bring us to the end of the review. I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for making it to the end. If you haven't already, kindly hit the like button and subscribe as it helps me out and keeps the channel growing. Plus, I've got other reviews up and more to come. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on this Vegeta. Do you love it or hate it? And is this your favorite Vegeta Blue in the Figuarts line? If not, which one is? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But as always, this has been T.o.P Reviews, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.